Alright guys, and welcome back to the Jiu Jitsu Journal by Quotes and Chokes Instructionals. I'm Nick Angeloni, and today with me we have a special guest, Professor Sam Coutts. He's going to show us a pretty powerful Kimura setup from side control, something that you can kind of use when people are shutting you down and you got to make something happen. But before we get into that, do me a favor, hit that like button below, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel and see the stuff that we've got coming out in the next few weeks.
Alright guys, so this is a version of the Kimura that I really like when people are defensive with their posture. If Nick isn't giving me any position for his elbows, I'm going to force him out of position with what I like to call a knife hand. So if Nick's got his arm nice and tight, like a lot of guys, especially my students, will hold what's called the Pledge of Allegiance position, or they'll dig for the pummel. Either way, their elbow is going to be tight to their body, and I need to make some space to get that Kimura grip. So what I like to do for this Kimura is bring my arm out from under the head and get my armpit right by their elbow with just the bone of my thumb inside. That's all I need to get the arm out of position. I'm gonna make my hand that's digging under the arm strong like a knife. I always think of the bad guy from Terminator 2, like I've got a metal knife hand. And that's all I really need to isolate his arm. Now, just so the pummel and the single leg escapes aren't available for him, I'm gonna bring my pummeling arm to the near side hip. I don't grab, I just steer with the back of my hand, just so he's not gonna turn into me and escape. Now I'm gonna start actually prying his elbow away from his body. So I'm gonna turn my hips toward the head, keep a nice chest pressure. I wanna time this knee stepping over his head with me driving him up on his side. So as I drop my knee, I'm gonna use this knife hand to drive Nick on his side. It also gets my forearm under his bicep. So I like to think of this like a sandwich. My forearm's a piece of bread, his arm's the meat of the sandwich, and I'm gonna drop my bicep over his to make that second piece of bread. I'm gonna tie up the Kimura grip right here. Sometimes if I'm worried about guys with strong grips, before I tie up, I'll staple their arm under my shin. A lot of guys like to finish right here on the knees. I like to do it a little bit different. I'm not very strong. I train with a lot of bigger guys, so I like to prop my knee into their kidney to keep them up on their side. Most guys try to grab their gi or their shorts, or even just tuck their hand under their leg. So what I do before I try to finish is I rip the arm away from their body. And you can do that as fast as you want, nothing will happen to the shoulder. Now I want to keep his arm above his hip and pass it over his body. So I do it one way when I'm drilling to keep my partner safe. I do it another way when I'm finishing live. To do this safely with a training partner, I'm going to pass his hand over his hip, but I'm going to rest my elbow on his hip. Now I'm going to pivot on my knee, keeping the leg over the head, and I want to get my ribs on his ribs. Now a slow, safe finish is to let my elbow slide off the hip and then push the thumb toward the back of the head. If I'm doing this live, competing, fighting, defending myself, I'll rip it away hard, and then I'll put my right elbow all the way to the floor in one fluid motion. I can't keep Nick's arm tied up as I do that without damaging his shoulder. A lot of the time, they'll tap. The tap's gonna be too slow for the finish. So the safety position is this right here, elbow on the hip, because I want to get my ribs on his, with a little pivot on my knee. This keeps his head down. Now I've got all the space to finish. Use that detail for training purposes. Again, if you're competing, fighting, or just defending yourself, once the arm's high, this back elbow is going to hit the mat, and the Kimura is going to finish as you drop. And that is what I like to call the knife hand Kimura setup. All right, guys, so a lot of details going on right there. It's hard to see it all put together smoothly, so now I'm gonna do it one more time, just a little more live speed. So again, I'm playing side control with Nick. He's digging his pummel, keeping his elbow tight. So I'm gonna get my armpit away from his shoulder, trap the elbow and block the hip. Now I'm step over, drive him up on his side, isolate the Kimura grip, finish the arms.
Alright guys, as always, thank you for watching. If you like this video, remember to hit the like button and subscribe to see the future videos we got coming soon. If you liked the stuff that Professor Coutts showed today, you can find him on social media, on all the regular Facebook, Instagram, and also we'll put links to that in the description, and then we'll put links to the academy that he's teaching from, which is Ludwig Martial Arts. We'll put the link to that in the description. If you're in the Denver area, I recommend that you check it out. Alright guys, thank you, and we'll see you on the next one.